Hello, and welcome to another segment of Motivational Mondays with Donna. I pray that everyone is doing well and that if you're having any difficulties, that you're remembering to let go and let God, knowing that God is ordering your steps. This week, I'd like to speak on the topic of pass the test. In life, we're all going to run into challenges, obstacles, difficulties of all sorts. But as I spoke about a while ago, sometimes our blessings are disguised as burdens. And if we'll just pass the test, things will improve for us much better. The Israelites, when they were finally freed and Moses brought them out, did a lot of things that were on the negative side. Complaining, bickering, moaning, serving other gods, all types of things. And that made an 11-day trip become a 40-year trip. They did not pass the test. The younger generation eventually did get into the promised land, but the older ones did not. So it's very important that you learn how to pass the test. And God has an enormous sense of humor, because if you don't pass it the first time, if you don't pass it the 100th time, He will continue to test you until you pass it. Now, it's important that you pass the test, because where He's taking you, that's a test that you need to pass and overcome to be able to get to the great life that He has in store for you. And sometimes the testing is arduous. It's like in school, where it's test after test after test. That can be a little bit overwhelming, but you have to keep your eye on the prize. Remember, whatever it is that you're asking God for, you have to go through certain tests before He actually gives you what it is that you want. It's just like a child wanting their parent to give them something. The parent is not going to give it to them until they know that they're capable of handling it. And sometimes that's why things that we're waiting for take so much longer to be able to get, because God knows we're not ready for them yet. He does not want you to fail. He does not want to put you up on a pedestal that is just going to break out beneath you. So you have to pass these tests. And one of the people in the Bible that was tremendous with this was Joseph. Joseph was given this dream from God that he was going to be, a high-ranking official. And the problem was, like they say, the old people will say, don't let the right hand know what the left hand is doing. He was busy blabbering this to all of his brothers, and jealousy rose up in them, and they just wanted to get rid of him, besides the fact that their father loved him more than the rest of them. So they plotted, and they actually sold him into slavery to a traveling caravan of Ishmaelites who took him into Egypt and sold him to Potiphar. So that was the first situation he had to deal with. The next one was Potiphar's wife had an eye for him, and she tried to beguile him into sleeping with her, and he had to run from her. And when he ran, the robe, the cloak that he was wearing, she pulled off of him and then went and showed it to her husband, Potiphar, and tried to say he was trying to take advantage of her. Well, next situation became Potiphar threw him in jail. But you see, God is always with you no matter what, no matter how far you've fallen, no matter how desperate things look. So God actually put him in charge in the prison of all of the people that were in jail. And he had favor with all of them. And eventually, Potiphar had this very disturbing dream And a couple of people remembered that Joseph was good with being able to detail dreams. And so Potiphar called for him, and he actually was able to interpret the dream and let Potiphar know that, you're about to have 7 years of harvest and then 7 years of famine. So you really want to be able to save up your grain so that the people can be able to be fed in the 7 years of famine. And with that, Joseph immediately went from being in prison in charge of all of the people that were in prison to being second in command behind Potiphar. So he passed the test. He didn't complain, didn't moan, didn't groan when his brothers did what they did to him. He passed it. He ran from Potiphar's wife, and he passed that test in jail when he was put in. And then he got to his ultimate. So it's important, no matter what struggles and things you're going through, just pass the test. Once you pass it, you're going to see how God is bringing you into your glory and into abundance. Now, we always end our segments on gratitude. And this is not a name that I should even have to detail. Tony Robbins, the American author, the coach, speaker, philanthropist, he's just tremendous. And Tony had this to say on gratitude. When you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. Think about that. Don't let fear, false evidence appearing real, distract you. Just stay focused and be grateful. And just remember, pass the test. Talk to you next week, guys. Have a great week.